Welcome to the pilot episode of Dinner for Wolf, a movie viewing podcast. We don't claim to understand cinema or to have any valuable opinions, but we have a bit of fun pretending we do. So join us for a conversation between some old friends separated by a couple thousand miles, who have a few weekends free each month between them. My name is Bobbert Redford, but my friends call me Red. I'm an Aries, and I like long walks on the beach, and I'll allow my compatriots to introduce themselves.
My name is Benson Blewington, and I think astrology was ridiculous and like arguing about just about anything.
And I'm your co-host, Gray. Given the film that we're talking about today, and the fact that our names are all colors, I'm going to go ahead and forgive anyone out there who suspects that we're all just palette swaps of each other.
So let's talk about Mortal Kombat 2021. This is the ninth edition of Mortal Kombat. It came as a sequel after Mortal Kombat Dilation, and I think, a sequel or prequel to Mortal Kombat Babies.
To be clear, is this you envisioning Mortal Kombat as Muppet Babies, or is that just something I'm doing in my head?
What? What are you talking about? You haven't seen that? You were supposed to watch all the movies before you came here, all right? This is the ninth Mortal Kombat.
Of course, Blue didn't do his homework.
This is the soft reboot, okay? But like, still, you needed to know, like, kind of the premises. All right. Anyways, back to the thing. All right. Mortal Kombat, of course, is based off of a fighting game that came out in probably 1994. I didn't do any research, but I'm assuming. I'm gonna guess 90.
I was gonna guess 93, but
93, 92.
Sure.
Came out for the Atari Super System.
Yes.
No,
I think it was Philips CDI, man.
For this.
So basically, this is a movie that came out relatively recently, and we decided to review it because we heard good things about it, and it was free. So that itches all the scratches. So
it was free for you. But that's another thing altogether.
It's free for some of us. It's free for people who are stealing their HBO accounts. So we have a new director, Simon McCoy. You guys heard of him, right? He's done a bunch of stuff. I mean, let's see. He's done Mortal Kombat. He's done. Okay, no, he's only done Mortal Kombat. That's the only thing he's ever done.
Yeah, he has literally two things on his IMDb. And his other one was back in 2014, and it was a short. So I don't know. He was probably working at Kinko's from 2015 to now.
Yeah.
He probably found the script in like in the copy machine. And he was like, I could do this. This is my calling.
No, he found the script in the living room of everyone who's ever played a Mortal Kombat game.
Also, do a quick aside, Blue, you really haven't seen Mortal Kombat Babies?
So, audience, this is the bit in every one of my conversations with Red and Gray where I cannot tell if they are just going super deep on a bit, and I'm like 90% sure they're just going super deep on a bit, but that 10% is just going to be a tumor.
Okay, you played enough of the games, right? You played the old games, correct?
I'm familiar with fatalities, if that's where you're going with.
Yes. So where do you think all of the baby characters went after fatalities were done? They all got to get rounded up and go to a Mortal Kombat character daycare, and then they made a movie about that.
The fact that you say that premise so confidently with such an even voice is infuriating.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat Babies. It was pretty good.
I suggest you watch it. I suggest you 2 nights. It's on Amazon.
Okay.
Amazon for kids. All right. It's in all ages.
Right. TVY7. Yeah. No. It's good.
Exactly. So it was directed by Simon McQuaid, and it was written by Greg Russo. As you know, he was the third Russo brother that they. Their parents abandoned him in the woods.
Every famous Hollywood set of brothers has that third brother. There's the third Wilson brother to Luke and Owen, who's less famous. There's the third Hemsworth brother, who's less famous, and obviously there's the third Russo brother, who instead of making Avengers, he wrote this nonsense.
When they say Russo brothers, it's always in quotations. It's not all the brothers. It's just, it's just those two. And, Greg was finally escaped from getting chained up in the basement. And he was able to, write his first screenplay. And this is his first screenplay. Actually, yes, this is his first screenplay. He has one upcoming called Category 6, and I'm not even sure what that is even about.
I have to think that's about a tornado. And I can tell that that's going to be a wonderful, terrible movie just from that name.
Hey, I'm already a fan.
I kind of am too. I'm not going to lie. Well, I'll skip to the end, but I've enjoyed his work.
So that's pretty much all the basic knowledge you need to know for Mortal Kombat. It's basically a video game. This is the first movie and written script for two people that we've never heard of from before. And it was released simultaneously on HBO Max and theaters. People saw it in theaters? I'm not sure. Who knows? So
we did not. It's still COVID out there.
Yes. So talking
local
about
theater eventually.
Right.
So here's the thing. This movie, when I first saw it, I literally thought it was like a Netflix series that was produced like for very cheap and just to show 6 episodes of something. But this was a full-fledged flick. And, I'm going to say this right now, like to put this out there. Everything that we say from this point, all right, do not be mistaken or misguided. This is a bad movie. All right, we're going to say a lot of weird things.
Right.
But I want everyone to remember in context that this is a bad movie. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. But let's get started. So this is the point where we actually start talking about the movie, and there are going to be spoilers here. So if you haven't seen the movie and for some reason you don't want to be spoiled by it, you can skip ahead to the end, watch the movie on your own. The end will have the review. Watch the movie on your own, and then come back to this, I guess. Give us double the hits on this. So let's talk about kind of the opening scene of Mortal Kombat, all right? So we get like a nice little, I think there was a quote, right? Ask not what you can do for your country.
It was something like that.
But country was spelled with a K, by the way.
Yes,
everything is spelled with a K.
Yes, everything. It knows what it was.
Scorpion. Scorpion is not spelled with a K, but everything else is.
No. See, I don't understand that. Scorpion could have easily had his name spelled with a K. But anyways, it starts off in ancient Japan, actually.
Wow.
And I know, right?
We're off and rolling.
I was thinking about another tangent.
Yeah, I see where you're going.
So we have this
ancient.
nice
It was like the
rural...
1600s. I don't know if that's ancient.
It was sometime. I wasn't really paying attention to
it was the
text
past.
quoted.
But
we start with ancient village and a bunch of ninjas, and you can assume that the most popular characters are, of course, Sub-Zero and Scorpion. So we have Scorpion's kind of origin story in this. Everyone kind of knows it if you've played any of the games, right? So, he's just doing stuff, and then up pops his best friend.
Yeah. Wasn't he getting like water by a stream or something?
He was going to get water, which if your mortal enemy is somebody who's
I didn't even
ice, you should not be getting him more stuff to make ice with.
That is a really good point.
But yeah, he was going to get water, and it seemed like it was really close, but then it took an obnoxious amount of time for him to come back. And in the intervening time while he was getting water, an entire squad of Chinese ninjas showed up to attack all the Japanese ninjas.
That distinction does become important.
Yes. With if we want to go lore heavy, the Sub-Zero's crew is the Lin Kuei, who were after the Shirai Ryu, who were the Scorpion's people, or Hanzo's dudes, because he's not Scorpion yet.
This is what happens when you watch Combat Babies. You know this stuff. You did your homework.
Yeah. Mortal Kombat Babies is an important part of the canon.
Sub-Zero ices pretty much everybody. Like, that's not even a pun. He actually ices everybody. And and Scorpion, for some reason, his weapon of choice is a garden trowel. So
well, no, he had a sword and he used it on the goobers that Sub-Zero had all fight him so they die, so he could then later fight him because, good management. And then he threw away his sword and used a garden trowel.
That's right.
For reasons.
And he tied a rope to it.
Yes, the classic Sub-Zero harpoon or whatever that weapon is called in the actual
Or
game.
the scorpion harpoon. Yeah, exactly. But it was like a rope and crappy. But yeah.
So pretty much all you need to know is everyone gets wasted, and except for baby in the tent area,
and not quite in a tent area. If you guys recall, they took that baby and they put it into like the soundproof box from the movie A Quiet Place.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Nobody knew. Like Sub-Zero took his time to ice his family, but he couldn't find this kid. But it's fine.
Like literally slowly grew an ice blade.
Yes, it's very.
Very deliberately.
Now we have a jump cut, and we are in like some gross MMA gym, and we see
in between Raiden comes in.
Oh yeah, okay, yes.
and teleports in, grabs the baby, and we were torn if he was going to time transport the baby or be a descendant, and now we transition.
And
wait,
and in that time period, that was like that was one of the Mortal Kombat babies, but you have to watch that movie. We won't spoil anything for that one. So.
Yeah. Mortal Kombat babies would be a later episode.
Spoiler cast for myself.
Before we jump to modern times, though, we do have to point out that the subtitles deliberately tell you which language each person is talking.
Oh,
yes. Yes.
And so Bihan or Sub-Zero is speaking Chinese, and the rest of the people are speaking Japanese, and they tell us at every moment so that we know that they don't know what each other are saying.
Right. And just in case we didn't pick up on that, at the very end, I think it was Scorpion's like, I may not understand your words, but I know that I'm like, oh, they got us. The movie got us, caught it, trying to judge it.
Here's the thing, though. In that whole scene, at one point, Sub-Zero does speak Japanese to Scorpion's family. So
wait, what? I missed that.
Yeah, he has one line where he speaks in Japanese. Now, maybe either A, that's the only thing he could say in Japanese, like, where is Scorpion or whatever.
Right, or like, donde está la biblioteca? I mean, like, we all have.
Or the more hilarious option, he does speak Japanese, but he's choosing not to, just so people are more confused about what the hell he's doing.
Yeah.
I don't know which it is, but I want it to be that he speaks both languages and is just likes to have everyone not know what he's saying.
All right.
Anyway, Red.
Jump cut into the present day, and we're in an MMA gym. This guy that we see is getting his pretty much massaging someone's foot with his face.
Yeah.
Eventually, it cuts to him being a loser, and everyone says, "Yeah, this guy is a loser." And so that
but he used to be a winner.
He used to be a winner. That's the premise. That's a nice writing setup for us. He goes back, and it's like kind of like in that scenario where it's either he's like Warrior or Rocky. He's just some loser who used to win but now loses a lot. So
that's
he's got a little girl for a coach.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. He has a little girl for a coach. And so you find out that he has a family, and you're kind of wondering like, who is this character? What is he doing? And you come to the realization that this movie is now about this random guy instead of, the dozens of characters in Mortal Kombat. Right off the bat, like you have to just recognize what's going on here. We had an assumption that maybe this character is supposed to be replacement for the audience, or so that you can see the Mortal Kombat world in all its glory through fresh eyes. But it's pretty cheesy.
Yeah, He's not a great character, but it kind of works. He's a vehicle for other characters to be good characters.
So basically, finishes up getting his face, kicked in. He gets stopped by two actual Mortal Kombat characters. He gets stopped by Jax and Sonya Blade, right?
I think it's just Jax at first.
Is it just Jax? Oh yeah, okay.
Jax shows up at the gym, and it's like with his regular arms. Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
but
so this is like speeding along the plot. So like we have we have no breaks. Like he pretty much jumps directly into the plot line, and there's some weird MacGuffin where everyone who is supposed to be part of this story has like a weird dragon type Rosaria rash on their body.
It's like the Mortal Kombat thing, but it's like a birthmark basically.
Yeah, it gets itchy and gets inflamed when they're close to each other. So.
More or less.
You need that outworld lotion.
Exactly.
Going back, did we ever decide how Jax saw that? Like, was he watching really bad Fight
Well,
Night
that's the
footage
thing.
from 3
We'll get to
years
that
ago.
point.
Yeah, right.
These people, like, how did they even know that this guy was not like a popular guy at all, right? But for some reason, they have really good resources, and what those resources are, well, we'll talk about that.
They have resources. They cut it. They almost ran out the clock.
So basically, Sub-Zero pops up, proves global warming is a myth, and he just gets Cole and his family to escape while he buys them time, pretty much, from what I can remember.
But Sub-Zero shows up and starts really, really showing off.
Yeah,
right.
He shows up and he starts making it snow, like light, pretty Christmas snow in July in California.
Dozens
it's
of
literally
bystanders.
Frozen, the Disney movie, for Sub-Zero, for that one scene where if he added a little bit of singing, it could have been a Broadway performance.
Right. You know how at the end of Game of Thrones, Night King gets a little saucy? It's like that.
Yeah, he does have that slow walk and that creepy stare.
Yeah,
the whole time he's just making pretty frozen snow.
Yeah. Sorry, continue. We have to get to the part with his flair for when he fights Jax. Is that where we're going next?
Yeah. So he basically goes into he lets Cole escape, and Jax, somehow gets lured into a warehouse, I think.
Yeah,
where
it's like
Sub-Zero has meticulously set up a level for him to fight in, straight out of a video game. And this is where you can understand that this is a video game movie. All right, there's 2 levels. There's ice statues. I don't know where this guy had the time for this, but
he had to stop and hydrate at some point. That man did not have enough moisture in his body to do this.
No, and this is the point. If we haven't reached it yet, that. Because every video game movie has to pick what it's going to be. Is it going to try to be a movie, or is it going to be a video game you watch? And this one decides right here and right now, this is a video game that you watch.
Yes. And it was the right decision, but we will get back to that. Also, I think it was before this, we had a debate, and we all agreed on the correct answer. We had 2 theories on how Jax loses his arms, because we saw the human arm.
So here's the
one
thing.
is that sorry, go ahead.
So every Mortal Kombat cartoon, movie, video game, anything that introduces Jax, he has both arms, and you have to guess how the writer's going to remove his arms.
Even in the games, they did it 2 different ways, because of the reboot that happened in 2009 or 2011. They changed it so he loses his arms again in the new timeline, but a different way. So there's 2 different ways in the games, and then every movie, every cartoon. I mean, don't even get me started on how he loses his arms in Mortal Kombat Babies.
Someday I will want to get you started on that.
For a PG movie, it is very creative writing where you can remove the baby's arms.
Anyway, we narrowed it down quickly to Goro rips his arms off, or Sub-Zero freezes him off. And right when we saw the warehouse, we're like, we all made the right call. Sub-Zero we all called earlier. Sub-Zero freezes him off, and we got real confident then. And gentlemen, Sub-Zero freezes his arms off. Then disrespectfully shoves him down like a 3-story drop.
In the scene in which it is the first of many, many Easter eggs in this movie, and we're not gonna mention them all here. I'm just gonna highlight the handful that stuck out to me. But this is the first big one, and this is one of the ones that tells you that you're watching a video game, not watching a movie. Is in the graffiti in the background while Sub-Zero and Jax are fighting, is the directional input, or the controller input for Sub-Zero's freeze. So down diagonal forward, then forward, and then square or whatever is right there in the background. His most famous move is in the graffiti on the wall while they're fighting.
Again, this is a very referential movie, and it's definitely a movie that understands it's a video game movie. So give it props for that. No, Super Mario Brothers, weird. Let's try to alter the world to make it fit into reality. It's pretty much stupid at this point when he knocks
a dude. Mention that movie?
Yeah, right. Exactly. 2 levels. Okay. Anyways, back to Cole. There's some dumb emotional part that we're gonna just mull over because it's not funny or interesting or entertaining to watch.
Right.
Basically, he just he talks to his wife about being a loser and his kid about being a loser or something. And for some reason, he decides that he has to leave his family, or Sub-Zero is going to turn them into icicles as well, or something. I don't know. But anyways, he heads to the new checkpoint that Jax was trying to get them there originally. Before Jax, they don't care about Jax anymore. There's no mention of Jax at this point.
There's no mention of Jax for like 40 minutes.
It feels like it's just accepted that he died by every other named character who has not seen him die.
Literally, we didn't realize how much they forgot about Jax until they find Jax later, and we're like, "Oh right, you exist."
This guy, yeah, he's a very disposable character in the very beginning. He's just there to get Cole to the next level, pretty much. So
he's there to get Cole in the presence of the greatest actor of our time, Josh Lawson, who plays Kano. but go on.
So the next level, the next area that they unlock is the trailer park. Before, talking about Mortal Kombat and Jax and Sonya Blade and all those characters, they're military personnel. They're soldiers. They're commanded by the government to Mortal Kombat, pretty much. They're the Mortal Kombat division or whatever, It doesn't matter what organization they were from originally. They're now in the Mortal Kombat group, pretty much.
Right.
But in this movie, yeah.
No. I was going to say that in the games they're from the same squad that in the parallel universe that Jean-Claude Van Damme's character is in Street Fighter, which they're like military supernatural tournament fighters, which is 100% a real part of the military.
Yes, they absolutely train in guns. They have guns sometimes on them, but they never use them. That is only for decoration. They have decoration pistols and rifles, which they lose, and then it's all about punching and Hadoukening each other to death, pretty much.
Oh no, they would shoot thousands of people just to get to the tournament.
That's right. That's true. That's very true. That's right. I forgot about that. They would not use their guns for the tournament itself, but to get there, yes, they would kill lots of people with guns. Okay, so anyways, they're at the trailer park and they introduce two again popular characters, Sonya Blade and Kano. Okay, Kano is a bad guy, of course. He's tied up. Sonya Blade is, I don't know the actress. I don't think I remember her from any other movies, but Kano is the same. A lot of these actors are not notable or popular yet. No,
yeah, there's a number where I knew their face from other things, but there's no way I was ever going to know their name.
So Sonya Blade, Jessica McNamee, she's in Blackwater Abyss, Into the Dark, Battle of the Sexes. She was in Chips, the remake. You saw Chips, right? Yeah, pretty much her, she's the main character for the first time. Pretty much.
Oh, she's in the Meg.
She's in the Meg.
She's in the Meg. That's the only one I've heard of. That's for anyone who's unfamiliar. That is the Jason Statham movie where he basically remakes Deep Blue Sea, or actually no, more like a high budget version of Shark Attack 3, Megalodon, the Sci-Fi Channel classic.
Yes. So basically, she's a bunch of movies. She's been working for a while, but this is probably her first main role. Okay, so she's there. She doesn't have one of the Mortal Kombat rashes, but Kano does, and we get into this weird thing where Kano is like, "You want this rash?" And they explain, the history of the rash pretty much.
Right. You can either be born with it, or you can kill somebody and get it.
Yeah, so it's it's a weird genetic disease. Yeah, Kano killed some mook for
it. It's a combat transmitted disease. It's really crazy.
Right, and that's the intro to Kano, is that he killed someone who had it that she had been tailing,
right?
Who was someone who actually was a good fighter who could have actually represented Earth, and then Kano is just some scumbag who killed that guy for some unrelated reason.
And rips off one-liner after what. Kano is a legend in this movie. We won't get to all of them, but oh my god. But also what I was hinting at before we get too far, when they go over the research of how they got there.
So they're talking about the history of Mortal Kombat.
Right.
And they actually mentioned that Mortal Kombat has always been spelled with a K, apparently, in all languages. All languages have Ks. And so they have literally a poster board of like Mortal Kombat has been going on like throughout the centuries. Like Julius Caesar was like there, like Abraham Lincoln, et cetera, et cetera. And so it's all like in push pins and like weird. You went to like a crazy man's house who was stalking like their favorite actress. That kind of like billboard. I know they wanted to do like some like True Detective kind of thing going on there, but it looked crazy.
So just to clarify for everyone right here, we thought that they were part of the Mortal Kombat division of the military,
right.
And it turns out that doesn't exist. They are just weirdos in a trailer park who used to be in the military.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the thing. They don't have any organization.
Collecting newspaper clippings and connecting them with red string.
Listen, their organization has a name, and we both know it. And the name of that organization is Kanon.
Yes. So they
Who
are.
is K? That is what they are trying to figure out.
Right. They are Kanon, and they are trying to figure out what's going on with Mortal Kombat and the Ks.
The Ks, pretty much. And they do. Yes, they do. Spell conspiracy with a K. And that is also there. So like you'll see some nice like little Easter eggs. Like there's Nighthawk.
Mm-hmm.
Nightwolf, I think. Yeah.
Nightwolf.
Yeah. And just a bunch of like little nice details in there.
Yeah.
I think modern Avatar guy sees like a drawing of Scorpion and freaks out or something. I think there's something like that in there.
Yep. And there's a sketch of Kotal Khan, who's like the Aztec character who's added.
Like they have a bunch of stuff. Like the writer was just like, the writer has played Mortal Kombat, It's not like one of the Resident Evil movies or the U-Ball movies where they kind of like, they see the title and then they come up with a script based on like the cover of the game, So, there's details there. And basically, we have to keep moving around. So the boss of this level is...
yes, this is when Reptile shows up.
Oh, God.
And... did they do my buddy Reptile dirty? I'm not a fan of this. They also did this in the Mortal Kombat movies from 95 and 97 were the years for those. I don't know. They have never portrayed Reptile in the way he is portrayed in the recent games. In the recent games, he's actually a human-shaped person who is dressed like a green ninja. In the older movies, the panned lower budget Mortal Kombat movies from before, he was a like a Komodo, excuse my language, a Komodo dragon, and then turned into just a human in green, which is like a palette swap of the other guys.
Right.
And then in this game, or in this again, this movie is such a game, I'm calling it that. And then in this one, he is a creature. Like he is not a person that you would that would be a combatant. He is like
going back.
He's not a combatant.
Yeah,
he's not a combatant.
Going back to the Mario Brothers thing, he's like if Yoshi from Mario Brothers got scaled up and turned invisible.
He's not a character. He's just a monster, pretty much. So there's no
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, they took a character and turned it into a monster that is. I just think I think a lot of us were looking forward to a better representation than the old 1995 movie.
Although
this is just as bad.
Yeah, although they used him well because, and this was the moment that, at least for me, I realized that this movie was going to be everything I wanted. Again, it's a bad movie, but it's also a perfect movie because it is a perfect Mortal Kombat movie. Because how do they kill Reptile, ladies and gentlemen? He does the Kano rip the heart out fatality. And doesn't Reptile try to punch him after he rips his heart out?
Yes,
Am I making that up?
Yes. No, you're not making that up. After his heart is ripped out and it's still beating in Kano's hand, he swings one more punch as he falls to the ground.
It's pretty
so at this point, this is the second move of the game, move from the games that has been in this movie.
So we're not doing there are very good scenes with Kano, and we're not going to go over them because they wouldn't be funny for us just to repeat the lines.
But Kano is amazing in it. Kano's amazing.
Funny character in this, and he's a good addition to kind of like the very soap opera-esque acting of the other characters. So Cole's just kind of along for the ride. I don't it's a little fuzzy. So they kind of sum it up. They fatality a reptile, and for some reason, Kano knows how to get to Raiden's
Yes.
special
This is
temple.
this is where Sonya again continues this lie that she's working for the government and offers Kano like millions of dollars in government money to show them where Raiden's temple is, because apparently Kano knows. And then immediately after that admits that she lives in this trailer park and is broke as hell and doesn't work for the government anymore.
Also, Chekhov's gun alert has a creepy garden gnome. Keep that in mind.
Oh yes, that's right. That's right. That Kano spits on and calls creepy.
Yes.
We shoot ahead. You know, like we have Kano as a character because he's amusing. And for some reason, he has the plot important part of getting them to the next area, the next level, which is basically Raiden's temple.
What question? Because I don't remember. There was like the old woman who flew the plane that flew them there. Was that his mom? Was that Kano's mom flying them there?
Oh God, I have no idea. But
just a random old lady.
I think it was just random. It might have been his mom. It was a weird conversation between them. Yeah, it was.
In my head canon, it's now his mom. It's his mom. I've decided. We're moving on.
All right, so head canon, Kano's mom flies.
Yeah,
I mean, that's like when you're 14 and your mom like has to like drop you off on a date.
Oh God.
Oh, Kano be an adult someday.
Someday, Kano.
So basically, they get to the temple, and right off the bat, a fireball comes at them, and you're like, "Oh, I know fireballs. I know this character." And clearly, it's going to be your favorite Liu Kang, the main character of the previous Mortal Kombats.
Who's basically what? Bruce Lee, but throwing fireballs, because
pretty much.
Every video game needs a Bruce Lee surrogate, and Mortal Kombat's Bruce Lee also throws fireballs, and
right. But it's all of those things, but also he's got like creepy cult devotee, eyes are always 20% too far open, doe-eyed stare, fanboy of Raiden thing going on the entire time he's in this movie.
He's a big fan of the Mortal Kombat franchise, big fan of Raiden. All right,
he's mixing with fireballs all the time. It's just like, oh, you need a light fireball. Like, okay, this was a lighter, but it's fine.
So Raiden comes down and he pretty much just lays down the exposition. Pretty much just
Raiden's kind of a jerk in this movie, right? Like
I don't even remember if he was a character.
Grumpy. He's grumpy.
I don't remember anything that he did in this movie, honestly. He was just there, kind of. So basically,
he's just an exposition machine.
Fair.
He pretty much goes over the whole history of Outworld and the whole Mortal Kombat kind of franchise. Right. Okay, so like they have to do a fighting tournament, and you're like, oh, okay, I know fighting tournaments, and they're like, yeah, if we lose this fighting tournament again, they're gonna take over. Whoever sets up the fighting tournament, nobody knows. You know, gods are there. He's there to protect the Earth realm, but he can't do anything. He just is kind of there as like a pencil pusher.
And the whole conceit, which I know you mentioned to a degree, is that if Outworld wins 10, which is another dimension for anyone who's unfamiliar, if Outworld wins 10 Mortal Kombats in a row, they can like earn the right to invade Earth. Right. Or quote unquote Earth realm. But one thing that to my knowledge, and maybe people could let us know, I don't know what happens if Earth realm wins 10 in a row.
It's like, what do we get? Like, this seems really one-sided.
Never once thought about that. Yeah,
I don't know.
Like, do we get to invade them, or do we get a wish? Like maybe you just get a wish. Your realm gets a wish, and Outworld's wish is always to invade Earth. I don't know.
Oh,
no idea.
That makes more sense.
But I just made that up.
Yeah, but that would make sense. Like, why would we even participate in this? Just like you constantly have to fight these these combat things. But like, what do we get out of it? Like, I don't know, man. Like, you can have all of Outer World. Like, Outer World is terrible. Like,
by the way, quick side note. NetherRealm Studios, if you're listening, if that's better than anything you ever thought of, please reach out to me and hire me. I don't mind working for you.
Exactly.
But
you get combat babies for free. That's right.
He's got the lore down, man. He's played all of the games.
But as someone who played all the games, I still don't know what would happen if Earthrealm won 10 in a row.
Pretty much, right? Like,
So I need that. I need that out in the ether because maybe
like I need
someone
what the
knows.
solution is. But here's the thing. Oh yeah, that's right. How many games there hasn't been like a time where Earth has won 10 times in a row? They basically just been like, oh, like we're about to win, and then they pull out that one win, and they're like, all right, reset it back to 10, that kind of thing. So it's never ever gone to where we're kind of.
It's just Lucy keeps pulling the football.
Right.
So basically, this whole setup is just this level is for the training montage. We introduce two characters, Liu Kang and Kung Lao, and they're pretty much they're ready for combat, but the other three are not. And so here's where they explain how like everyone has like these wacky powers. So apparently, if you have the weird combat disease, Mortal Kombat on you, you can have some sort of power that is like very, I don't know, unique to you.
Arcana,
so basically,
they call it.
Yeah, they call it
Arcana, right? So Liu Kang apparently, his Arcana is shooting fireballs. Kung Lao has a Captain America shield on his head, and
but it's sharp.
And so, it's sharp.
But it's sharp.
I mean, it's again, it goes around with Captain America shield physics. Sometimes that thing can like cut open a helicopter, and sometimes it just like kind of really bruises skin.
It bounces off you, and you say ow.
Yeah, it has enough force to like embed itself into a van, but sometimes it just like knocks the wind out of people. They're like, that hurts. But so now we're like in the training montage, and this is actually a pretty fun part because like they're doing like these kind of goofy things, and like they're fighting, and the fighting is pretty good. Like I won't lie, like the martial arts is not bad in this.
Oh yeah.
And
also, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that there are a few moments in these training bits where they do exact combinations of punches and kicks from the game. Like we were watching this movie together, and at one point I think Kung Lao did like a combination of punches and kicks, and I'm like, I could do that exact thing in a game right. Like I know the button combination to do that combo right now.
Also, there's like a 20-second sequence where Liu Kang, is it Liu Kang or Kung Lao? I can't remember. Keeps on leg sweeping Kano, like the cheap leg sweep move you do in the game, and Kano just keeps madder and madder and madder.
Like when your little brother keeps leg sweeping or uppercutting over and over again, and pisses you off. It was that, and then at one point Kano jumps
in love with the movie.
And that's in one of those leg sweeps, Kano jumps and pulls his legs up and does the exact high knees jump that you do in the games.
Yes, it's very amazing. It's literally
perfect.
Like they took the live action motion cap of like the first Mortal Kombat, and they did that pretty much.
Yeah.
Perfect.
This movie is both terrible and perfect. That is my review.
So after they're training and they suck, and Cole's around too. Like you forget this guy because the actual characters are actually doing stuff on screen, but Cole is there, and he's like, "Oh, hey, it's me. I'm a guy, I guess." And he gets worked.
Yeah, he's basically a punching bag for these scenes.
Yeah.
So
like he loses to everybody.
Also, they have like 2 weeks until the tournament, so like. Raiden really fell asleep on the Switch. It's like hundreds of years, 10 tournaments. Everything comes down to this. All right, we're gonna find these guys 2 weeks before everything gets
they had 2 weeks to find Arcana and all this training. You're like, come on, Raiden. Well, what's going on here? Like, do you not care? He probably doesn't. He has a very air of not caring in this movie. Eventually, they go and they find Jax, and they're like, Oh, right, Jax was with us. Remember Jax?
In the temple? No explanation. They never explain how Jax got in.
And this is the weird part. So we told you that Jax loses his arms, right? And he gets like uppercutted off of a second floor, and
he like goes bounces off an I-beam.
Yeah. Like I literally assumed he was dead, but apparently he's back. And so we're in a Shaolin monk temple. And one of the Shaolin monks is, not only is he good at martial arts, he's also good at robotics, I guess. Yeah. And so they have their own Shaolin mechanical engineering section.
Is he good at robotics? Those arms weren't super good.
Well, here's the thing.
Robotics.
I mean, they were really good arms for being built in a cave. Like they actually are like the only thing I can think of to compare it to is Iron Man 1, where he was in that cave in Afghanistan and built that first Iron Man suit. And If you subtract out the rocket boosters, I think those arms are better than the Iron Man suit.
See, the Iron Man suit was like chunky. These were thin little arms. Like
Yes,
like
it was basically
See,
I'm
doing
talking
him punching a punching
technical skill.
bag. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm talking the amount of technical skill it would have taken to build that thing in a cave.
Right.
I
But
They
think
literally
those
just have,
arms
like, metal
with
bells.
functioning fingers, 10 digits that he can function like through his stumps. I think that's a little bit above the Iron Man suit built in the cave.
That's fair. But just visually, audience, like it's as if Jax had T-Rex arms, but instead of being short, they're just really thin, and that's how they're disproportionate. Like they do not look right on his body.
He's like a jacked Steve Harvey with stick figure hands.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is and that scene alone is almost worth watching the entire movie for, because they like, not only do they're just like, man, you got your arms ripped off. All right, let's put a couple of those Lincoln Longs together, and we'll make you some fighting hands.
Right.
Not only do they do that, they're just like, all right, now start punching a boxing bag.
Yeah.
Like,
Use a heavy bag. Do it.
He has no strength whatsoever, but they're still making him train, and they're just like, oh wow, this is embarrassing. I guess, I don't know. But anyways, they're at dinner, and they've pretty much forced Kano to get his Arcana by like making fun of him and like stealing his egg rolls. Yeah, I know.
Yes.
It's like,
he really wanted those egg rolls.
They got Panda Express that night, and like they
Kung
didn't
Lao
ask
was
him what
also
he wanted.
real sassy. Kung Lao was real
Kung Lao
sassy
was
with
very
Kano.
sassy. And so basically, and we're already halfway through the movie, so like we're like so far in the movie that it's like, hey, what's going on? They're not gonna have enough time for the tournament.
The tournament, right?
Like you're making so much stuff. Like, what's going on? Well, basically, Kano gets his first Arcana like by being angry, and hating Asian
Like
people.
literally, that's what happened. And then he points out that he just need to get angry to shoot eye lasers.
Yeah.
Like that's
then they bro it up, and then they cut to Outworld, and we see Shang Tsung, and Shang Tsung is with his cronies. He's got some other characters that are not they are real characters from Mortal Kombat, so they're not fake characters. They're real characters. You got Cabal, you got
Dragon Wing Lady,
Tara, you got Nitara, you got
and Reiko.
and Reiko. Yeah. So these
Hammer
guys,
guy from Fury Road.
yes.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like these are all real characters from Mortal Kombat, but they are real minor characters from Mortal Kombat.
Yes.
Like they are people who were not OG characters, and they're not in the new trilogy. They're from the middle games only. And that is a big signal to the audience that they are perishable.
Yeah.
Yes, like these guys are
Also
not coming back for the sequel. You know that from the get-go.
Also,
like
and
sequel,
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
So the sequel is going to pull, if and when there's a sequel, obviously it's going to pull more OG characters. These are people that were 100% expendable. Like,
Yes.
like these are the people who would be on the Expendables without being old.
Oh, exactly. They are out of work pretty much. All right.
Also, it's in this scene in Outworld that I'd like to give Mortal Kombat credit for being like this, worldly, but I don't think it is. There's a petty way Shang Tsung is a jerk here, and he keeps on dead naming Sub-Zero. Like Sub-Zero keeps on saying, "Do not call me Bihan." It's like, okay, Bihan. He's like, my name's Sub-Zero. Fine, Bihan. And Sub-Zero keeps it, and it's a
twice.
and it made me hate Shang Tsung. So,
like this happened twice. And at this point, Sub-Zero is a 400-year-old dude who, however many hundreds of years ago, changed his name, and it is not cool.
Yeah, it's.
He came up with this awesome name. He learned a little bit of English, and he was like, you know what? I do ice. Sub-Zero's a pretty cool name. And you're like, if you guys would just call me Sub-Zero from now on. And they're like, yeah.
It's a small act. It's a small act.
It's a small act. You get called what you want to be called. All right.
Don't be like that, Shang Tsung.
So basically, Cabal is like, yeah, I know Kano, we were bros before or something, or maybe no, they hate each other. He's like, I can convince Kano to betray all these people. Oh wait, no. Before they actually send the 3 expendable fighters to go fight the Mortal Kombat crew in there.
Right, but they send Cabal to talk to Kano because they've met.
Yes.
Or whatever.
So Kano kind of does this little shady thing. But here is where Cole, he's a character again. He gets beaten up and just sucks. And so Raiden goes, all right, like you are terrible, like at everything. Like, so here's the door. And so finally Cole like kind of disappears. So here's the thing. This also shows that Raiden can teleport himself and anybody he wants, wherever he wants. But anywhere. But he waited till the very last moment to get these people. So like he did not care. He does not care about Earthrealm.
He does not care.
Hopefully this makes it into a sequel that he does like this guy is just like indifferent, that he's just like another office worker. So Cole gets sent back home and he's with his wife and his kid, and basically he goes home and he's like, honey, I'm sorry, I didn't make the cut. I got kicked out of Mortal Kombat camp. Yeah, they spell it with a K too. He's just like kind of moping around. For some reason, even though he's not really part of the group anymore, Shang Tsung still decides to send Goro after him. Like
which overkill. Like he says Goro after.
Well, I mean, Goro. There's a huge statue of Goro in Netherworld, so you think, okay, Goro is like his best champion. So why does he send Goro for like the worst Mortal Kombat guy? You know,
the guy who hasn't gotten his power yet.
Yeah, and it was just like, this is a normal dude, like, and he's even worse than a normal dude because like every other normal dude seems to be able to beat him up. So it's, you know, he's even below that pretty much. So basically, he fights Goro. You're like, this is not really a fun matchup because he is not good,
right?
And Goro is like this giant like claymation like putty guy, and for some reason, even though Goro like punches him through a barn, he's still okay.
Quick note on this before we jump into the next phase of this fight. Why was Goro so gigantic?
Yeah, he was very big.
He was very tall.
Like, okay, so I went back because this bothered me when we watched it. I went back this week and I looked up what Goro looked like in the Mortal Kombat movie, the old one. And what they did was they had a real person with his real arms, and they built like basically a Ninja Turtle outfit that went over his head with a fake head and fake arms, right? Which pretty clever use of practical effects, right? So it's a real guy with a fake shoulders, arms, and head of a guy above him, right? Which makes him about a head taller than a normal person. You know, maybe extra head, extra neck taller than a normal person.
Right. This Goro was like 10 feet tall. Like he was really
also, but here's the thing. I also checked out every iteration of Goro in every main Mortal Kombat game, and he is the same proportions. He is basically a shoulders, neck, and head taller than a normal person.
Yes.
This Goro was like a freaking frost giant from Game of Thrones. Like he was gigantic. He is massive. Like Cole, when he stands against him, is like up to his belly button, not up to his solar plexus. Like it makes no sense. And I know there's been a good amount of praise of this Goro as being less hokey than the claymation on top of a person one from the old movie. But the proportions just make it ludicrous for me. I'm sorry. I'm out on this iteration
like
of Goro
down on this Goro.
Because he is bigger than the Incredible Hulk, and it makes no sense.
Yes, exactly. And basically, you know, he is not a character, and I mean, he was never really a character. He's just a big monster. But he is also another kind of a throwaway monster. Like he gets sent to fight Cole for some unknown reason, and it's weird. So basically, he needs his wife to help him, you know, like that's how bad he is at everything. So his wife, like, also tag teams Goro with him. And, you know, after he gets thrown into a barn, he finally realizes he has superpowers. And you're like, okay, like, let's see what powers he has. He has the power to get beaten up as many times as it takes. And like Black Panther, like he can dish it out, I guess, like as a counterattack.
No, I prefer Gray's explanation of what this is.
So his power is he as a person becomes the strategy for Rocky 3.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Just keep on getting punched.
He's like, if I get beat up enough, I'll win. And somehow that makes sense.
That's exactly right. He absorbs,
he gets punched and it glows in a weird way, and then it gets like stronger. It's never really described if he's just armored or if he's actually getting charged up by the punches, but it looks like he's getting charged up by the punches.
No, he definitely is. He definitely literally the protagonist of every fighting sports based movie. He's Rocky, he's Karate Kid, like he just gets wailed on until he gets the chance to win.
Yep.
Like some turn of event, and that's basically is. Back in, Mortal Kombat camp, the other three main characters, Jax can't do anything because he's got like little swizzle stick arms. Sonya Blade can't do anything. Yeah, Sonya Blade is also around too, even though she doesn't have the mark. Like she just hangs out and kind of like cheers on, but she's getting whooped.
And they do pair her up with Melina, who's the only bad guy female, which feels very 90s to me. Like that feels like a 90s movie decision of having the girls fight each other.
Yeah, it's a little sexist. It's not great.
So Kung Lao and Liu Kang are like fighting. They're fighting other people. I think Kano is like, I don't know. It's kind of a mess. It's fun. It's a fun scene. Kung Lao does his fatality against the flying chick. An actual real fatality.
And so it's the hat spinning cut her in half, and you see everything cut in half. But what else does he do? During the fight, he takes no damage, and at the end of it, he says, like in the game, flawless victory.
Yes, there's tons of that. Things that don't even make any sense. But you're just like, okay, like, oh man, like they said the line from the thing. Like they have Test Your Might, they have the Mortal Kombat theme song, like everything you wanted.
Everything is in it.
Everything you wanted.
Absolutely everything.
Right. So basically, they just kind of like they throw it all in there into a big pile, like all of the references and fighting moves you want to see, and then they lose, of course, because Shang Tsung just like jumps in. He's like, all right, I guess I'll just suck your soul. Like I don't know. Like it's real easy for me to kill you. I should have just done this myself instead of sending people.
So Kung Lao doesn't have a good day. It's a really painful looking soul sucking.
Yes, yeah. So Cole teleports back. They say something about Cole having powers now, and we're like, haha, he's the bloodline of Hanzo, like Scorpion, and that's the prophecy of us not losing a 10th time in a row, which whatever. And then Kung Lao like jumps in the way of them trying to kill Cole real quick, and he just gets himself like no fight. He just gets like grabbed, and his soul just sucked out of his mouth.
Yeah, it's like they started the round with a fatality, and you're like, what? Like what's going on?
Like creepy reverse CPR where his face just turns into a skull while he's still alive, and I don't know what turning into a skull feels like, but I'm gonna guess it is not pleasant.
Yeah. So he definitely So basically, Shang Tsung like just pretty much solos everyone. Like for some reason, like why even have other fighters if he could just do that? But who knows? So he leaves with his soul food, and he decides that that there's not going to be a Mortal Kombat tournament, like that. He just like that this movie has already gone on too long, and that we're just gonna end it right here. And so everyone fights. He disappears, and Raiden is like, all right, I guess it's our turn. Like round 2, we go fight them wherever they are. And so Raiden teleports all of like the remaining cast to like their prospective opponents, pretty much. And so like they're all faced off.
He could teleport all of them together to each one successfully.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He could have teleported them away.
He just doesn't care. He just doesn't care.
He does not care. He
could teleport the other ones into space and just have them explode in the void.
He could do a lot.
Like he could do so many things.
He could do so much. Like he's not supposed to interfere, but he still allows, like he still like saves people when he wants to, but not like other people. So it's like he could have like saved Jax whenever like he was getting his like arms frozen off. But anyways,
not interfering is like Captain Picard with the Prime Directive. It's very appropriate.
He's very
freaking all the
time. Quick aside about the acting, because I wanted to mention this earlier and it didn't happen to come up, but Liu Kang in this movie.
Yes.
Liu Kang's acting, like okay, as we're talking about this, I'm gonna look up who the hell what else he has been in, so I know for sure. Yeah. But this guy acts like he is a Liu Kang and Mortal Kombat super fan
Yes.
who got
Yes.
picked on a radio call
Yeah.
of like being the 1,000th caller and got to play Liu Kang. Like he acts like every day is the best day of his life.
Yes.
Yes. He literally is like, if there was a Mortal Kombat theme park, he would be the guy greeting people as in his Liu Kang outfit, you know,
Yeah.
and like he would be doing poses and stuff, you know, that's what he would be doing. Like that's
Right.
his life.
He's like the cartoon character version of the person who actually played this character.
Yes, exactly. It's like
And
he watched the first Mortal Kombat movie and he's like, I'm this guy, but a caricature.
Okay, this is going to be a deep thing. Gray, you might know this. Did you ever watch the Pro Stars cart where they had the people who played like Wayne Gretzky and Bo Jackson, but they super weren't Wayne Gretzky and Bo Jackson?
Yes.
It was like that was Liu Kang.
Yes, 100%. 100%. Excellent early 90s throwback. It was like the Pro Stars version of Liu Kang. That is exactly what it was. If you don't know what that is, look it up and then you'll get the reference.
It is a classic.
It is a perfect explanation. I'm so glad you said that, Red. Or Blue, excuse me.
You get it right.
It says you.
We'll worry about that.
You're almost as bad as Shang Tsung, man.
I know, right?
I'm
Don't
sorry.
dead baby.
Yo,
So,
don't say things you can't take back, man. Damn.
So basically, they're all fighting, and you know, even though Sonya Blade literally does not have any superpowers, they're just like, all right, go fight Kano, who has superpowers, because we're just running out of people, right? Like we can't send anybody else. And oh, by the way, Jax also finds his arcane out.
Right.
He realizes that he cannot be in this movie if he has twizzle sticks for arms. So that's his main objective for getting his arcane out.
After that scene where Shao Kahn, Shang Tsung sucks Kung Lao's life out of his face, she gets a rock knocked onto her, and he tries to lift the rock off of her, and he breaks his swizzle stick arms like they are falling apart while he's trying to lift. And that the effort of that moment causes his Arcana to come out, and his Arcana is better arms.
Yeah.
So he got a software upgrade where everybody else gets like an actual new ability.
Well, and also, you don't even see Sonya under the rock. You just see a rock where Sonya should be, and then she's like fine.
He
like,
should have looked around the rock.
Rock.
Honestly, it doesn't. If the rock was on top of her, she would still be dead. Like it doesn't matter if you try to pull it off her.
Goo. She'd be goo. Like
He's just laying
rock
under a rock.
She's just literally on the other side of the rock, but he still tries to take it off her. Anyways, yeah. So maybe Raiden did know that Jax was going to lose his arms, and like he needed to get his powers, because like what would happen if he still had his regular arms and he got his Arcana, right? That'd be really weird and awkward.
Gotta be painful, man. Just having
they just pop out, and like his like he loses his baby arms.
Before he moved forward,
yeah,
quick moment on the arms. All right, so in the earlier scene, which is right before Kano gets his powers, and Kano is like yelling about egg rolls, right? Just before that, they're all sitting down to dinner together in this cave, and Cole comes out, and he had been sparring the previous day against Kung Lao, and Kung Lao had thrown his hat, which again is the Captain America shield, but you wear it on your head, and it varies how much it hurts you depending on what they need in the moment. And it just slices Cole's arm. He gets like a 2-inch long slice in his arm because the hat just barely got him. Right. And he comes to dinner later and has like a Band-Aid on that arm.
Right.
Mind you, Jax, who had his arms frozen and ripped off 36 hours ago, saving Cole, and now has swizzle stick arms because he has not gotten his magic power yet. So he
I forgot about this. I know where you're going.
Like skeleton arms is sitting at the table. Cole comes in, and either Kung Lao or Liu Kang or Raiden, I forget which one of them, goes, "Hey, how's the arm? Is everything okay?"
Exactly. With his little cut and his little like Hello Kitty Band-Aid on top of it. And then nobody looks at Jax, who's like trying to pick up like a dumpling with like literally like those little grappler things that you get at carnivals. That's literally what he had.
Like his new real robot hand is functioning like the first day you tried to use chopsticks, and he's picking up this thing. Like, know your audience, please.
Yeah.
Please. Don't
Yes.
say how's the arm when you got a scratch in front of a guy who had both of his arms ripped off yesterday.
Yo.
Like, I'm sorry, I had to mention it. It's just I've been
that
thinking
was
about
a
it
good mention.
all week. Anyway, so where were we?
Okay, so we're at the final fights. So basically, since we're running so low on time, like literally, Jax just like knocks up Hammer Guy's hammer and just rips off his arms. You know,
Yes,
it's just like
although
okay.
he
all
squishes
thought
his head. He
we-
squishes
Oh
his
no,
head
right,
like
he
a
switches
melon.
his head, correct.
with the
Right.
Jax fatality, but we all thought he was going to uppercut him because it was the level that looked like
He did, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
they,
right.
they decided to fight at the pit level. Again, Raiden can teleport you anywhere, and he teleported them to a 2-foot wide like cement bridge.
Yes. Yeah,
Not
Raiden
sure
teleported
why.
them all into like their equivalent levels. Sonya Blade ices Kano by
With a garden gnome.
Yes, with a garden gnome, correct.
Yes,
Smashes his-
Through his magical eye.
yes.
and Liu Kang has to fight.
Liu Kang fights Kano, and Liu Kang beats Kano, and then he summons his fire dragon to do his
Liu Kang doesn't fight
fatality.
Kano.
No,
Sonya
Cabal,
fights
Cabal.
Cabal. Right.
Okay, Cabal.
Oh,
Cabal,
right,
I'm sorry.
right, Cabal,
I'm sorry.
yes.
Yes, I was saying Kano. I meant Cabal. Yes, Liu Kang fights
Yeah.
Cabal. Sonya fights Kano, and Jax fights Reiko. So
Right.
So Liu Kang fights Cabal and ends up beating him, and then summons the fire dragon fatality, which is like essentially two of his fatalities in one, because his older fatality was like an actual green dragon, and then he also had fire stuff. But so this is a fire-based dragon that engulfs and quote unquote eats Cabal, and he turns. Oh no, it's not. It happens off camera. Now here's the thing, guys. Theory. Because it happens off camera, I think this was added in post. I think someone along the way, when they were making this movie, looked at a rough cut of it and said, "Hey, we need more fan service."
Yes, exactly.
Because
He literally does
camera,
everything.
it sounds like after the fact, like ADR, where he just like throws in that he's just like, he says fatality.
Yes.
For Kung
Yes.
Lao.
Yeah, that is right.
Yes,
But it's
like, he
off
literally
camera,
throws
which
in all the
tells
terms.
me someone said we don't have enough phrases from the game. Let's throw in a couple more.
That's a good
Yes,
word.
like we need
Oh,
more.
who did Sonya blasted somebody with her ring gauntlet things? Who was that? I can't.
She comes back to help.
Cole is Cole fighting Melina? Someone's fighting Melina.
Someone's
at
fighting
that point?
Melina.
Yeah, she blasts the hole in her so that like you see like a hole through her, like
You see her spine in the center of a hole. and
yeah.
then,
It's very similar to Predator with Jesse Ventura,
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
except plus a spine. Jesse Ventura's body stayed up without the spine somehow. I mean, he must have had really strong side abs.
I mean, it's Jesse Ventura, man. I mean,
They shot a hole through his whole body. His spine was gone, and his body didn't collapse like Jello. But Melina, they put the spine there because no one's going to believe that her abs are that strong.
yeah, that's the part.
No, not at all. Yeah, so they pretty much get rid of all of the fodder characters. We find out that Sub-Zero like doesn't even want to be a part of this really, and he just wants to kill Cole and his family because they don't really explain why Sub-Zero's clan really hates Scorpion's clan. Don't really explain it, but
they do.
He needs to get rid of it. Yeah, he really does. So he appears like in the back porch, you know, like Mike Myers through the window, grabs Cole's family, and literally lures him back to his gym. Like he sets up a stage. Like this guy is very theatric. Like every fight has to be in like some frozen wonderland. Like
You're very true.
Yeah, like every fight. Like he literally is Elsa, and like he has to make his own special palace like every time he fights, you know? And so Cole gets teleported there by Raiden, and you know, everyone I guess just lets him do it. Because everyone else is dead, right? All the other bad guys are dead. So they
All
could
the
help
bad
Cole.
guys are dead.
They
could have
just
helped
him and
Cole.
Shang Tsung.
Yeah.
Yep.
They could have helped Cole, but they decided not to, and so they so he goes by himself to the MMA gym where he got, you know, pretty much foot massaged. He decides fight Sub-Zero, I guess. So Sub-Zero freezes his family, like literally in Cube's vice, just like he did.
Yes.
Like we had a
in
fight
the
over
beginning.
whether they were dead or not. Like
Yeah.
we're like, I'm like,
They
they're alive.
looked pretty dead. They looked pretty
They
dead.
did.
But,
They did.
Like the only difference between them and Scorpion's frozen family clearly had like an icicle spear through them and like frozen blood sticking out.
Yes.
And
Also,
like
Scorpion's family was less frozen than his family was.
they were less frozen, but with more spikes coming out of them and some blood. And I think that was a very deliberate choice, because we are supposed to believe that these people who are frozen solid against the bars of an MMA fighting ring are still alive somehow, which honestly, I think that is my second most ludicrous part of the movie. I think firstly, it's Goro being bigger than the Incredible Hulk, and second is that these people are alive despite being frozen solid.
I need to push you on this. Not that I disagree, but I have to know if this is part of the same item or a second item. Is it more or less ridiculous than the fact that when he then tries to punch them out, they don't explode like a frozen plant with ice on it? That like
100% correct. Yes. That is all tied into the same factor that in the midst of his fight, not to get ahead of things, but in the midst of his fight in the end of the movie, he takes these moments to try and punch them out of the ice that they're in.
Right.
And I'm not sure if anyone here has frozen literally anything in ice, but if you break that ice, the thing that's frozen in it usually breaks too.
Yeah, exactly.
And, like that he is wailing he's going to punch them out with his magical golden tonfas.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. It's unbelievable. Like this whole scenario is just like the climax. Cole is a very strange introductory character to begin with, that he has to fight Sub-Zero. It's very strange. So he's losing. He's about to die. But before we get into that, Raiden gave him a kunai, of course. And so he says, you might need this, with a little wink. When he uses the kunai, who appears? Scorpion. And so if you were to look at the trailers or the posters or pretty much any merchandise or any kind of news article about Mortal Kombat, the movie, you would assume that Sub-Zero and Scorpion play like a large role in it, but they do not. They are literally there in these two scenes. The beginning scene,
Scorpion is literally in the movie in the opening scene and the final scene, and Sub-Zero is in the opening scene, the final scene, and one more scene where he freezes Jax's arms and makes it snow in California.
Yeah. Also,
again, Sub-Zero also could have soloed all of the other combatants too. You know that like their power levels are very extreme. Like the other like fodder, like nowhere in comparison.
Yeah, it's like, cool. You have a Captain America shield in your head. Frozen.
Yes, exactly.
You can shoot fire. Oh man, well, in between times shooting fire, frozen. Like, you have a laser eye, frozen.
And just to loop in listeners onto how this makes sense. The kunai is actually the weird garden trowel thing that Scorpion was using.
It was,
and it had his blood on it. And it had his blood on it, so it could summon.
So Scorpion comes back from the Netherworld to fight his mortal enemy Sub-Zero, and they fight with like some pretty cool effects. And again, this fight is very interesting. The combat and the action scenes are not poorly done. Yeah. They're fun to watch.
The get over here spear happens like
the get over here. He does get over there. Teleport attack.
He has gotten over to there.
Sub-Zero does the ice mimic move. He does all of they do pretty much every you hit pause and you go down the special move list, and they did it pretty much in that.
You're right because you're right. Sub-Zero does his freeze. Sub-Zero does his jumping backflip ice mimic freeze, like you said. He does the one where he makes an ice wall and then throws you into it. Well, it's basically like a highlight reel, for a professional athlete, but it's just all of Sub-Zero's greatest hits of all of his most popular moves throughout the however many years history of the games.
Right.
It's you only played Mortal Kombat 6? Well, he's going to do a move from Mortal Kombat 6. I promise.
Don't worry. If you played any Sub-Zero, we'll have a move for you. They win. And again, there's at this point, it's wrapping up, and the tournament, there is no tournament. This is everyone just fought whoever they fought. And, Raiden is we still got 2 weeks though. So Mortal Kombat 2, anybody? And that's pretty much the end.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Raiden is still looking for Mortal Kombat combatants. This is literally it's a week away now. I don't know if they decide to postpone it.
I don't know if they officially postponed.
Well-
I think they had to appeal to the Mortal Kombat headquarters in New York,
Right.
and they're gonna have to find out from the commission whether or not they're gonna be approved on a delay of the tournament.
Well,
Feels like
at
the
one point
Biomass are
early
dead.
on, at one point early on, Shang Tsung was like, "We're not going to fight the tournament. We're just going to kill him before the tournament," and like that was so.
But then they lost, so he still probably wants the tournament to happen.
So now the real tournament
Yeah.
has to happen, and now it's like the subtitle of the second movie could be like Shang Tsung's Second Chance.
Also,
Yeah, exactly.
Can we just talk about the very, very end where Cole's like he's back in his gym and the trainer's trying to get him to fight? He's like, "Where are you going? Hollywood? Really? Hollywood? Hollywood?" And then it cuts to a poster, and on it says Johnny Cage in Citizen Cage, which is a movie that needs to exist.
Yes. Initial reactions to this movie, there was a decent amount of people who thought that was the next movie. They thought that was a stinger, like telling them that Citizen Cage is what's coming next from the Mortal Kombat cinematic
The
universe.
Mortal Kombat universe, exactly.
I
mean,
now that's obviously not the case. If there is something in its Mortal Kombat 2, it'd be looking for Johnny Cage while he's filming that. But I can imagine a world 11 years down the line when Citizen Cage is a movie that exists. So
I feel like
they
should have their solo movies. I feel like they should have solo movies and then just like wrap it all together into this big like tournament thing. I'm all for it.
The Mortal Kombat cinematic universe is something that I would vote yes on.
There we go.
If any politician addressed
So
it. So that's pretty much the end of the movie. Is it worth a watch? Well, let's talk about the actual review of this movie. Okay, so here's my take on this movie. So if you skipped ahead and for some reason you wanted to hear our opinion and if we should watch this movie or not, you should probably go to Rotten Tomatoes or something instead of this. But we'll tell you anyways what the actual the actual opinions of the movie itself is. All right, should you watch this movie? Have you ever played a Mortal Kombat game? If the answer is yes, all right. The second question is, do you like Mortal Kombat games? If the second question is yes, then the third is then you should watch this movie. It's definitely fun. And it's especially more fun if you can watch it with other people. It's the movie where you can talk about all of the weird Easter egg that you want to about like the 90s with a friend, pretty much.
Agree on every one of them. It is fan service of the game. Like that's just or the movie. See, I called it a game because it is pretty much a game.
We both done it now.
Just like Craig did earlier. Yeah. So it's I loved it. I like 20 minutes in, I realized what this was and knew that it was everything I wanted this movie to be. And I was very happy with it. It's a bad movie. Do not get me wrong.
Yes.
But it is a wonderful experience, and I'm very happy that I watched it.
Yeah.
Greg, any last
words? I mean, I'm not gonna disagree with any of that. I'd say overall, I think you got good two questions. Have you played a Mortal Kombat game? Not all, not
not all. Yeah, exactly.
Have you
don't need
played
to know all the
a
lore.
Mortal Kombat game? If the answer is yes, you've played a Mortal Kombat game. The next question, as Red already said, did you like said Mortal Kombat game? If you liked said Mortal Kombat game, then you will like said Mortal Kombat movie. As someone who's played multiple games, but not all of them, this was hilariously fun and also terrifyingly bad.
So there is definitely like very bad plot points, like things that don't make sense, like dialogue that is incredibly cheesy, a main character that is almost a cardboard box, a replacement for anything else, scenarios that make absolutely no sense, and basically just cramming everything together in 2 hours. You can get past that and just enjoy kind of the comic book-esque Easter eggs and all of that stuff, then go ahead and watch it.
The only thing I'd add to that is Kano steals every scene that he's in.
We didn't talk too much about it, but Kano is actually a very amusing character, and like he does steal the show in this.
Yeah, just little quiet quips, it's so good. 100%. You have to pay attention.
The objectively best part of the movie is Kano.
Yeah. Absolutely.
The action is solid, and like it's
With
basic
moves you can do in the
90s
game.
nostalgia. Exactly, with basic 90s nostalgia. There's not much to say about it. It's a fun ride. It's definitely not a good movie, but you could definitely enjoy it if you have the right mindset. So I'm glad you guys came and listened, and stay tuned for our next movie. We'll decide what that is in a bit. I'm Red Fox, and do you want to say goodbye, guys?
I'm Bluey, whatever I was before. And yeah, we'll talk to you next time.
Yeah, and Gray Matter. This movie was good. I don't know what we're doing next, but it's going to be fun.
See you guys later. Bye.
I thought I heard me old friend say, movies, Johnny, movies. Tomorrow ye will work the day, so it's time to watch some movies. Movies, Johnny, movies. Oh, movies, Johnny, movies. For the week is done and we worked too long, and it's time to watch some movies. Oh, the flick was long and the budget high. Movies, Johnny, movies. His light went green and the trailers lied, and it's time to watch these movies. Movies, Johnny, movies. Oh, movies, Johnny, movies. For the week is done and we've worked too long, and it's time to watch some movies. I hate to watch me English dubs. Movies, Johnny, movies. Foreign movies only with them subs, and it's time to watch some movies. Movies, Johnny, movies. Oh, movies, Johnny, movies. For the week is done and we've worked too long, and it's time to watch some movies. They swear they planned for season 4. Movies, Johnny, movies. But no one asked for a season more, and it's time to watch some movies. Movies, Johnny, movies. Oh, movies, Johnny, movies. For the week is done and we've worked too long, and it's time to watch some movies.